You just watched Love is Blind Season 9 end in the most catastrophic way possible. 0 marriages, multiple altar rejections, and more drama than any season in history. But what we saw on screen is just the tip of the iceberg. Wednesday night's reunion is about to expose secrets that will make everything look like child's play. Secret babies with mystery men, post-show relationships nobody was supposed to know about, text messages proving breakups might have been staged for cameras, and one cast member literally pulls receipts out of her dress sleeve to expose off-camera manipulation. There are 17 major questions that desperately need answers, and some of them are so wild that even the cast members don't know what's about to be revealed. The bombshell about who told Madison we're Eskimo sisters, the real reason someone's texting during their own breakup, why the only non-engaged person is confronting her ex about using ChatGPT to manipulate her emotions. The most explosive questions are coming toward the end, so stick around. Subscribe if you're obsessed with Love is Blind tea, hit like to help the channel grow, and hit that hype button. With a reunion this messy dropping soon, you'll want notifications on for the breakdown. Love is Blind Season 9 made history as the first season ever where nobody got married, 0% success rate. But what's happened since filming wrapped is unprecedented. Cast members dating each other after the show, alleged secret pregnancies, accusations of staged breakups, criminal past being exposed on TikTok, and manipulation claims with actual physical evidence. This isn't your standard "where are they now" reunion special. It's a full investigation into what happened when cameras weren't rolling. The reunion airs Wednesday night, October 29th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on Netflix. Nick and Vanessa Lachey are hosting, and based on the trailer, they're not holding back. The cast has been watching the season air in real time, seeing how they were edited, reading all the fan reactions and Reddit theories, and now they're facing each other for the first time since their wedding days. Some have moved on with new relationships. Some allegedly dated each other after dumping their fiancés. And some are showing up with literal receipts to prove they were manipulated. Let's break down the top 17 questions that we all want answered during the reunion. Let's start with something that's been eating at viewers since the pods. What is actually going on with Patrick and Anna? Question 1. Did Patrick and Anna ever reconnect after the show? Patrick had the strongest connection with Anna in the pods. They bonded deeply over being Asian American, dealing with dating in predominantly white Denver, and literally called themselves Spider-Man meme twins because they related so intensely. Then Anna ghosted him without explanation and left the experiment entirely. Patrick ended up proposing to Kacie, but he later told the Los Angeles Times he would have definitely proposed to Anna instead if she hadn't left. So Kacie was his second choice, which is brutal. After the show, Patrick and Anna did have a conversation where Anna said she felt really bad for leaving. But did they actually try to date? Did they give their connection a real shot outside the pods? Because the chemistry was clearly there. Question 2. Why did Anna really ghost Patrick and Blake? Anna's explanation was that she was a wreck and her eyes were almost swollen shut from crying, so she was too embarrassed to say goodbye on camera. She also said her immigrant parents didn't understand the show and thought she was being kidnapped when producers took her phone away. But was there more to it? Was she genuinely too scared of vulnerability and having her emotions broadcast to millions? Or did something specific happen in the pods that made her feel like she needed to escape? The way she left, just vanishing without a word to 2 men she'd built connections with, suggests there might be more to this story. Question 3. Does Anna regret leaving? Anna told Patrick she felt really bad about ghosting him, but does she actually regret walking away? If she could do it over, would she have stayed and seen where things went with Patrick? And more importantly, is there still something there between them? From what Patrick said in interviews, he's clearly not over the what if of their connection. He chose Kacie as a backup plan, and that didn't work out. Anna left before giving their relationship a real chance. Did they explore this after cameras stopped rolling? Or is this still just this giant unresolved question mark hanging over both of them? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Patrick and Anna should have ended up together? Now let's talk about Kacie and Patrick, because their situation is messy and there are 3 questions that desperately need answers. Question 4. Did Kacie ever actually want to be with Patrick? Kacie got engaged to Patrick knowing full well she was his second choice after Anna left. Then, immediately after meeting Patrick in person for the first time, Kacie told him she needed to leave the experiment. She later told producers, without Patrick hearing, "I just unfortunately don't think my attraction to him is going to grow that much." So if she knew she wasn't attracted to him, why did she accept his proposal? Was she just trying to make it out of the pods? Was she hoping the attraction would magically appear? Or was she never really serious about Patrick at all? Because what happens next with Kacie and Joe makes this question even more important. Question 5. Why won't Kacie give Patrick his engagement ring back? In the reunion trailer, Patrick directly asks Kacie if she thinks he should have the ring back since she's no longer with him. And Kacie just sits there looking speechless, like she wasn't expecting that question. Patrick revealed in episode 9 that when he tried to meet up with Kacie after they returned to Denver, she said she wasn't ready to see him or talk on the phone.
I did see her. I saw her right when I got back. Not in person though. Or not one-on-one, I'm sorry. I asked for a conversation I asked for a one-on-one thing. There was a lot of pressure because a lot of the cast members were already back and they wanted to hang out. They wanted to see us. They missed us. And we literally just got back. And I was just like, hey, let's have a conversation before we see everyone. And she was like, I need time. What's up?
What did she say when you requested that?
She just said that she needed time.
She wouldn't even give you a face-to-face?
Not even a phone call, man. So
Wow.
She told him to tell the other cast members they're broken up for now. For now? What does that even mean? And she refused his request to return the engagement ring. Is Kacie keeping the ring as some kind of souvenir? Does she think there's still a chance they might get back together someday? Which would explain the "for now" comment? Or is there some other reason she's holding onto it? Patrick deserves some closure here. Kacie proved to viewers that for some people, love is not blind, no matter how much they want it to be. Question 6. How does Patrick feel knowing Kacie allegedly moved on to Joe immediately? This is where things get truly messy. Patrick needs to address this at the reunion. How does it feel knowing that the woman who told you she wanted to keep dating you after breaking off your engagement allegedly went on dates with Joe just 2 months later? According to Joe's current girlfriend Averee, who spilled all of this tea on the Reality Receipts podcast,
Joe and I started talking. I think it was our first date. We were at a bar and he was just like, ran into this girl and he's like, oh, I've gone on a couple dates with that girl. And I was like, who? And I look over and of course it's Kacie.
Joe and Kacie went on a couple dates after the show wrapped. So Kacie broke things off with Patrick, told him she wasn't ready to see him or even talk on the phone, refused to return his ring, and then was allegedly out on dates with another guy from the cast. The timeline is giving calculated, not coincidental. Let me know in the comments, is Kacie the villain of this season or is there more to her story? Buckle up because this is where things get unhinged. The Joe, Kacie, and Madison situation has more layers than a wedding cake, and there are 3 massive questions that need to be addressed face to face. Question 7. Did Joe and Kacie really date after the show? Let's lay out the facts. Joe's current girlfriend, Averee Madison, yes, confusingly, her last name is Madison, which is also Joe's ex-fiance's first name, confirmed on a podcast that Joe and Kacie went on a couple dates after filming wrapped. This was about 2 months after the show ended, and then in November 2024, Joe started dating Averee. So was Kacie making moves on Joe while he was still engaged to Madison and before Kacie even broke up with Patrick?
I look over and Kacie has 2 hands on Joe's chest talking to him like this.
If that's true, this wasn't just a casual post-show thing. This was potentially brewing during filming. Both Joe and Kacie need to answer for that timeline because it's looking really calculated. Question 8. Is Kacie still trying to hook up with Joe? This is where Avery's testimony gets wild. She claims that even after she and Joe became official in November 2024, Kacie has continuously tried to hook up with Joe.
But it was just one of those where she just wanted to know, I think that she could have him or get him still. So he starts dating me and it'll be every couple weekends. I don't know if she's drunk. I don't know if she's out, whatever. She'll call or text and be like, what are you doing? Whatever, all while trying to be friends with me. And then she's still trying to hook up with my man while she knows he's my man.
Averee recounted this insane story about a pool party.
I'm not kidding you guys. I leave this pool party and come to find out, the second she's in the bathroom with me, I really think you're great. I think you're beautiful. You're awesome. I love you and Joe together. I leave the pool party and Joe's in talking to some of his friends, and all of a sudden I get a phone call. Hey, Kacie's trying to crawl on Joe's lap right now in the other room. And I was like, girl, I was in this house 5 minutes ago and I leave and you're trying to get on top of Joe. What is that?
So the question is this true? Has Kacie really been pursuing Joe this aggressively even after multiple rejections? If so, that's not just messy, that's concerning behavior. If Kacie's at the reunion, she needs to address these allegations directly. And personally, this is the moment I'm looking forward to most out of everything. What about you guys? Let me know in the comments what moment you're looking forward to most. Question 9. Who told Madison we are Eskimo sisters?
Audacity to tell me we are Eskimo sisters.
This moment from the reunion trailer has everyone theorizing. Madison says, she had the audacity to tell me we are Eskimo sisters. For those who don't know, that's a crude term for women who've been with the same man. So who said this to Madison? The obvious answer seems like it would be Kacie, right? If Kacie dated Joe after Madison, that would make them Eskimo sisters in the most literal sense. But Madison sounds genuinely shocked and offended that someone would say this to her face, which means whoever said it was bold enough to acknowledge they'd hooked up with Joe. But what if it's not Kacie? What if there's someone else who dated Joe that we don't even know about yet? In the trailer, Vanessa asks the cast,
after meeting everyone, was there anyone else in the pod squad that you started dating?
So there might be more post-show relationships we haven't heard about. Either way, Madison deserves to confront whoever said this to her because that's disrespectful. And if it is Kacie, then Madison, Patrick, and Averee all need to have a conversation with her about her behavior this past year. This is going to be so uncomfortable, and I cannot wait to watch it unfold. Now let's talk about one of the most interesting dynamics at this reunion, Kait confronting Nick. What makes this fascinating is that Kait is the only person attending the reunion who didn't get engaged, which is extremely unusual. Question 10. Why is Kait the only non-engaged person at the reunion? Typically, Love is Blind reunions only feature people who got engaged and made it out of the pods, but Kait is attending, and she's the sole exception to that rule. Why did producers decide she needed to be there? The obvious answer is that she was in a love triangle with Nick and Annie, and she has things to say about how Nick handled that situation. But it goes deeper. Kait is also close friends with Madison, and Madison's ex Joe's current girlfriend Averee is close with Kait too. So Kait has connections to multiple storylines happening at this reunion. Based on the trailer, Kait is coming with serious accusations about Nick's behavior in the pods. Production clearly believes her presence is valuable enough to break their standard reunion format. The question is, what does Kait know that we don't? What conversations did she have with other cast members that make her testimony so important? Question 11. What's the full story behind a Kait's ChatGPT accusation?
It felt like you went into ChatGPT and looked up how to get a girl to fall for you.
That is such a specific and devastating accusation. She's essentially saying his emotions weren't genuine, that he was following some kind of script or formula to manipulate her feelings. And what makes this accusation so powerful, Nick told both Kait and Annie that he loved them while he was in the pods. That's a major Love is Blind violation. You're supposed to focus on one person by the time you're saying, I love you, not playing two women simultaneously. Kait claims that she had already started to pull away from Nick before he broke up with her to propose to Annie. She said they had differences in values, particularly around religion, and she was trying to make compromises, but it just wasn't good enough for him. So was Nick's love for Kait ever real, or was he just saying what he thought she wanted to hear? And if his approach felt robotic and calculated to Kait, did Annie ever notice that same pattern? This confrontation is going to be revealing about Nick's character. Question 12. Did Kait and Nick's connection go deeper than we saw? Nick and Kait connected over shared interests in camping and skiing, and things seemed to be going well until religious differences became an issue. But Kait mentioned on a podcast that she had other really strong, intense connections with other people in the pods, so it wasn't just Nick. But how serious did things really get between Kait and Nick before he ended it? Were they discussing marriage and a future together? Did they talk about meeting each other's families? Because for Kait to feel this strongly that she was manipulated, and for her to show up at a reunion she technically doesn't need to attend just to confront him about it, there had to be more depth to their connection than what we saw on screen. And frankly, given everything we now know about Nick's relationship with Annie and how that imploded, maybe Kait dodged a bullet. But she deserves to get closure about whether his feelings for her were ever genuine, or if she was just a placeholder while he figured out what he really wanted. Speaking of Nick and Annie, their breakup was one of the strangest moments of the entire season, and there are 3 questions about it that need answers. What I'm about to tell you might change how you see their entire relationship. Question 13. Who was Annie texting during her breakup with Nick? This is the moment that broke the internet. Nick is trying to break up with Annie, and she literally pulls out her phone and starts texting someone. The cameras caught a glimpse of her screen, and while the contact information was blurred out, we could see her message. Hi, 90% sure no wedding. First of all, who texts during their own breakup? That's unhinged behavior, but more importantly, who was she texting? Was it a friend? A family member, a producer? And why did she have that text ready to send? The 90% sure language suggests she suspected the breakup was coming before Nick even started the conversation. The person she was texting responded immediately, which means they were actively waiting for an update from her. So this wasn't just a casual, let me update my friend situation. This was coordinated. Someone knew this breakup was about to happen, and Annie was keeping them posted in real time. We need to know who that person was and why they were so invested in the timing of this split. Question 14. Was Nick and Annie's breakup staged for cameras? Here's where the conspiracy theories get compelling. Fans have pointed out that Annie's behavior during the breakup suggests this wasn't the first time they were having this conversation. She seemed almost too calm, like she knew exactly what was about to happen. And that 90% sure no wedding text implies she'd already discussed this possibility with someone before cameras started rolling. Some viewers think the breakup happened off camera first, and then production made them recreate it for filming. That would explain why Annie was texting during it. Maybe she was updating someone that they were filming the reenactment. It would also explain why she laughed at certain points during the conversation, which is bizarre behavior during a real breakup. One Reddit user theorized, "My thought is the breakup happened off camera and production made them do it again. That's why she's already texting with someone during this scene." Another added that the first message where she said 90% not getting married might have been from a previous previous conversation, and then the friend was checking in on her during the filming. If that's true, looks it completely changes the authenticity of their entire storyline. Were Nick and Annie ever really going to get married, or was this relationship basically over before the breakup we saw on screen? And if production made them stage it for cameras, how much of the rest of their story was manufactured for dramatic effect? Question 15. Is Annie's criminal past going to be addressed? This is where things get uncomfortable, and I'm curious if this will come up at the reunion. A man claiming to be Annie's ex-boyfriend has been all over TikTok and Instagram, exposing alleged details about her past.
He took to social media and had a lot to say about Miss Annie. Story being, I have some great stories for you. For when her and I first started dating, she was on pre-trial wearing an ankle monitor for a DUI and would panic, trying to figure out what kind of pants to wear to her salon so nobody seen her ankle monitor. So, I had to get a receipt. I'm like, what the heck is he talking about? And sure enough, as you can see it here, Parker Police Department, driving under the influence, drove vehicle while under the influence of alcohol or drugs or both. As you can see here, to charge one driving under the influence, demeanor found guilty. She had to do community service and electronic surveillance. So his comment turned out to be very, very true. She did have a pretrial DUI and an ankle monitor. Right before we broke up, she got arrested because she took my ID out of my wallet and took it to AT&T to get access to my phone account to see if I was texting or calling other women. The representative from AT&T called the cops on her. She was allegedly charged with unlawful use of an ID, emotional tampering, and the boyfriend was granted a temporary restraining order because of this incident. Boyfriend tells me that because she was already on probation for the DUI, he did not press charges. Ultimately, both sides of this got dropped, which is probably why it didn't come up in her criminal history search. Ex also tells me that he is very familiar with the behavior that we are seeing exhibited on camera. The love bombing, the constant I love yous, the you don't love me as much as I love you. That was a common theme in their relationship as well. Wow, ain't that some
So this isn't just random internet gossip. There's documented evidence. Obviously, everyone deserves a chance to move past their mistakes. But given how much her relationship with Nick fell apart over trust issues, and given that she was literally on her phone texting during their breakup, these allegations about her going through an ex's phone records do paint a concerning pattern around trust and boundaries. Will Nick bring this up at the reunion? Do the other cast members even know about this? And how will Annie respond if she's confronted about it? Comment your thoughts. Should past mistakes be off limits at the reunion, or is everything fair game when you sign up for reality TV? Question 16. What off-camera manipulation happened between Edmond and Calibria? And what receipts did she pull out of her dress sleeve? Here's what we saw on the show. Edmond had this pattern of making passive-aggressive comments. Then when Calibria got frustrated, he would try to laugh it off or dismiss her feelings by saying how much he loved her. It was this exhausting cycle where she could never address real issues because he would deflect and make her feel like she was overreacting. At the Pod Squad reunion, Edmond overheard Annie tell Nick he was perfect and made a comment about how it must be nice to receive compliments like that.
It's always the is nice guys, but me up. Come too nice.
Calibria confronted him about constantly needing reassurance, and he accused her of not giving him enough positive reinforcement. Then when she tried to walk away, he kept trying to smooth things over without actually addressing the problem. But in the reunion trailer, Nick Lachey asks Calibria,
"You really feel like you were being manipulated?"
A lot of it happened off camera.
No.
Okay, wait, I just have this little...
Which means we didn't see the full extent of whatever Edmond was doing to manipulate her emotions and make her question her own reality. So what happened when producers weren't around? Were there other incidents of him being passive-aggressive or emotionally manipulative that never made it into the edit? And then, Calibria reaches into the sleeve of her dress and pulls something out. The other cast members look shocked. The trailer cuts away before we see what it is. So what did she pull out? Text messages? Emails? Some kind of documented evidence of Edmond's manipulation? The fact that she came prepared with physical evidence suggests this is serious. This isn't just a he said, she said situation. Calibria has receipts, and she's about to expose whatever Edmond thought would stay hidden. Based on his immediate denial and the shocked looks on everyone's faces, whatever she reveals is going to be devastating. This is the kind of moment that changes the entire narrative of a season. If Calibria has proof that Edmond was manipulating her in ways we didn't see, It completely validates her decision to say no at the altar and might expose a pattern of emotional manipulation that goes way beyond what production captured. Tell me in the comments, what do you think Calibria pulled out of her sleeve? My money is on screenshots of text messages, but I'm on the edge of my seat waiting to find out. We've saved the biggest question for last, and this is the one that has literally everyone losing their minds. This is the rumor that's been dominating every Love is Blind conversation since the finale aired. Question 17. Does Sparkle Megan really have a secret baby? Let me lay out the evidence, because this conspiracy theory is looking more and more like confirmed fact with every passing day. TikTok investigator and Reality Receipts podcast co-host Ricky Wise revealed that one of the cast members from the final 6 couples will announce they have a baby at the reunion.
Bitch, we just spilled some massive Love is Blind season 9 reunion tea on Reality Receipts, and it's so massive, it's so huge that I thought it was fake tea. A little birdie slid into my DM and the tea was so hot that I thought it was fake tea, because that does happen where somebody tries to feed me fake tea and they think I'm not going to verify to try and just credit a bitch. But this turned out to be incredibly true. But I am here to tell you that on the reunion, somebody is going to announce a baby. Now, I think it's really shitty to ruin somebody's baby announcement, so I'm not going to tell you guys who it is, but it is somebody who made it to final cast, and the baby is not with their Love is Blind partner.
But not with their Love is Blind partner. All signs point to Megan Walerius, also known as Sparkle Megan. The U.S. Sun obtained photos from October 19th and 20th, literally just last week, showing a man carrying a newborn baby in and out of Megan's Denver home. The man's identity is unknown, but it is definitely not Jordan Keltner, her ex-fiance from the show. An eyewitness said, "The man seems to be living in Megan's home. He has been in and out at all hours of the day." But there's more evidence. Megan completely disappeared from Instagram for nearly 8 months between late 2024 and mid-2025. Just vanished. No posts, minimal activity, complete radio silence. Fans immediately started theorizing she was hiding a pregnancy. The timeline makes sense. Megan purchased her Denver home in June 2024, about 2 months after filming Wrapped for Love is Blind. If she got pregnant right around that time, that 8-month social media absence lines up almost perfectly with when she'd be visibly pregnant and not wanting to spoil the show's ending. But what makes this situation so complicated? Megan told Jordan she didn't feel cut out to be a mother. That was one of the main reasons she called off their engagement before the wedding day. Jordan has a 5-year-old son named Luca with type 1 diabetes, and Megan specifically said she didn't think she could handle being a stepmom. Jordan later admitted, "I was regretful that we brought Megan in, like, oh, this is your stepmom," and then ripped her out of his life. For a 5-year-old, that's not fair. So Megan told Jordan she wasn't cut out for motherhood and couldn't be a stepmom to his son, then allegedly got pregnant and had a baby with someone else within months of that conversation. Now, people can absolutely change their minds about wanting kids, and that's valid. But you can see why Jordan might have some very complicated feelings if this turns out to be true. And the smoking gun. At the very end of the finale, host Nick Lachey asks Megan,
"Megan, do you still feel like you're not cut out to be a mother?"
Today I actually have a little bit of a surprise.
That is not a random question. That is producers knowing exactly what's about to be revealed at the reunion and setting up the dramatic moment. In the reunion trailer, when Nick asks her that question, Megan starts to respond, but the trailer cuts away before we hear her answer. We'll soon find out if Sparkle Megan is now Sparkle Mom. If she is, who's the father? How long have they been together? Did she get pregnant before or after calling off her engagement to Jordan? And how is Jordan going to react to finding out that the woman who told him she wasn't ready for motherhood is now a mother? This is going to be the most talked about moment of the entire reunion. Drop your predictions in the comments. Do you think Megan has a baby? And if so, do you think she owes Jordan an explanation? So there you have it. 17 burning questions that must be answered at the Love is Blind Season 9 reunion. And I have a feeling we're only scratching the surface of the drama that's about to unfold. Based on the trailer, it's clear that Nick and Vanessa Lachey are not holding back. They're going there with the uncomfortable topics, the messy timelines, the allegations of manipulation, and staged breakups. And the cast members are coming with receipts, literally, in Calibria's case. What makes this reunion different from previous seasons is that so much has happened since filming Wrapped. Post-show relationships, TikTok exposés, podcast interviews where people spilled tea, and fans doing legitimate investigative work to uncover secrets. The cast can't just show up and pretend everything's fine. They're going to be confronted with evidence and testimony from multiple sources. I'm most excited to see the confrontation between Madison and whoever told her they're Eskimo sisters, Calibria pulling those receipts out of her sleeve, Megan's response to the baby question, and watching Patrick sit there while Kacie potentially has to answer for allegedly pursuing Joe right after their breakup. The secondhand embarrassment is going to be off the charts. Before we wrap up, I need to hear from you. We just covered 17 major questions, but I know there are probably things I missed. Are there any other burning questions you need answered at the reunion? Drop all your questions, theories, and predictions in the comments below. Tell me which of these 17 questions you're most excited to get answered. Tell me who you think is the biggest villain of the season, and most importantly, tell me if you think Megan has a secret baby, because I am on the edge of my seat about this revelation. Smash that like button if you made it through all 17 questions with me, share this video with your fellow Love is Blind obsessed friends, and subscribe because the reunion breakdown is going to be epic. I'll see you immediately after the reunion for the full tea-spilling breakdown where we analyze every revelation, every confrontation, and every dramatic moment. Until then, stay messy, stay informed, and remember, this reunion is about to make the entire season look like a warm-up act. And there we have it, spilling tea one scalding hot drop at a time.